No, actually, I have to give you guys a disclaimer on the program. It lists this as next level donor development. So I understand completely if you want to get up and walk out. It's really next generation data management. So a little different. They're related, but it's a little different. I called Kathleen and told her that there was a mistake on the program. She corrected it like that, but didn't get it out to everything. Hopefully they're going to edit that out. Yeah, I keep forgetting his name. Yeah.
About a smaller group is you a little more personalized questioning and interaction.
Okay, so let me.
Could have almost fit under an operations.
Give me a minute to get moving here. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll get started. It's a big crowd, so if you want to come closer, like church, then I don't have to yell so much. As I said, the disclaimer: it's not next generation donor development. Donor is Dennis's purview, but we're going to talk about data management and a little bit about where we've been in the world of data, where we're going, and things that you should probably take particular attention to and look at and consider for your own data management going forward. And you guys just moved to Virtuous. Is that still viable? Is that still working?
We've got a meeting on Monday. So
oh, yeah?
It's basically just with Randy just coming on board, just to sit down and regroup.
Okay.
So we just hit our 1-year anniversary, and Rob, as you intimately know, the train really hasn't gotten out of the station yet. So,
okay.
So when I say TBD, not that it's not moving forward, but I'd almost be a little surprised if the phone wouldn't be ringing again, just your direction. So we'll see what comes out of Monday's meeting.
Be happy to help out.
Oh,
and you know I'm agnostic about software. I don't really advocate one software vendor over the other. I'm more about data, how well you're using your data and manipulating the software system to use them. How about you guys? What do you use for your CRM?
We use
Boomerang?
Boomerang.
Okay.
And, well, I've only been with this about 3.5 years, and that was just launched shortly before I got there. In the time that we're still learning and developing better ways to get out of it what we want, or developing standards as to how we put stuff in.
Yep.
So on the back end, when you want to get it out, it's consistent.
That's all part of data mining and how you manage that data.
Yeah, so we've come to agreements between those who enter information, so we can then consistently get it out. But it's
okay.
Well, like I said, the 3 years I've been there, we've still been learning with each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think we're kind of getting that.
Tends to be a long-term process.
Yeah. And then there was just weird stuff about information that was in there. We knew it was funky,
Yep.
So trying to clean that.
Data accuracy, right?
Yes, oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, I think we all encounter that to some degree or another. You guys are still with NetSuite?
Yes, and continue to learn and grow. You know, it was, I think the analogy I used was trying to drive a square peg into a round hole is what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
But we are emerging.
We chipped away at that peg.
Yes, yeah, it's like
You gotta figure out.
John, how long have you been with them?
I've been with City Union
Oh,
Mission 30 years.
No, I meant.
Oh, NetSuite?
Yeah.
What was it, 3 years?
3 years?
Okay, so very similar.
3 years. We started in
We've been
2020.
about 5 years into 3 years.
Yeah, we started that project in 2020.
We had decades of not consistent data management. So Dennis and I encountered Rob through our effort to try to get our data working at City Union Mission.
Well, we were using Raider Tech.
Right. And so that was its own charming effort, right? Because they didn't like people leaving them, and they would buy competitors up to shrink the pool. So anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to.
It's a challenging exercise. And the reason I asked the three of you that question is because you're all encountering some of the same kinds of data issues. Data mining, the quality of the data is just getting out of the system what you want to use and do a better job of donor management, which is the end result, right? You want better data so that you can deal with your key donors better and go into your database to find those people that haven't been contributing for a while and resurface them. So it's all about data management and data mining. And that's part of what we're going to talk about here. So before we get started on that topic, it's recording up here. I didn't know it was going to do that. So before we get started, any questions specifically about what I'm going to talk about or what we just chatted on? Okay, let's see how this goes. Agenda, we'll go through, we just did introductions, so we'll bypass that. So we're going to talk about data management, where we were, where we are, where we're going in general in the industry. We'll give you some key takeaways and some tips that you can take back to your missions. And then I'll ask you for a little action at the end of the meeting. So a little bit about myself. I've been involved in information technology and specifically with data management topics for 40 plus years. I've worked with some of the largest companies in the country, 10th largest bank in the country at the time, to AIG, to a couple of Blue Cross, Blue Shield organizations, a number of different insurance companies, and it's all about data. It's all about getting the data out of the system that you're looking for and then manipulating, analyzing that data and making it work for you. Brainstorm Labs is an organization that started in 2007, and about a year and a half ago, we came up with this idea to start Brainstorm Nonprofit because we were fully engaged in the rescue mission world, doing quite a bit of work. Wanted to see how we could apply that to other missions around the country, and we found as we're talking to other rescue missions, there's a great need for people to do a better job of managing their data and developing that data and being able to be a lot more nimble with their key donors. And so as we're talking to different missions around the country, we're finding that's a constant theme. And it's interesting, we run into some people that say, no, we don't have any problems with data management, and then they start talking about their problems with data management. So it's all in your perspective, I think, in some cases. So the last 3 years I've been involved with City Union and the Gospel Mission, and we're talking to some other organizations. We just signed a contract with a non-rescue mission in Kansas City that is engaged in post-abortion services. So they minister to people, ladies who have had abortions and men who have felt the effects of that as well, whether it's somebody who's just recently had an abortion or had one 30, 40 years ago and still dealing with the effects of that. So it's an interesting ministry. It's a different ministry that we've been involved in, but we're looking forward to it. It's an exciting place to go, and it'll give us an opportunity to sort of expand our reach a little bit. So half of my time has been in the rescue mission world, and the other half, before I left Pennsylvania, I was the chief information officer for a Christian school. So I set up their IT operation, actually stuck my head up in the ceiling and wired the building, and I was kind of a jack of all trades in that case. So that's where I got my introduction to Christian ministry as far as their IT needs go. And I talked a little bit about where Brainstorm is from and some of our ministries and operations. Introductions. You guys already did that? Okay. So as we go into looking at data management, the hurdles, can you read this? Is this readable to you guys? So the four main hurdles that we encounter are the evolution of data. It does have a tendency to evolve over time. You see it in your own organization, and if you step back and look at the broader scope of the industry, you'll see it changing quite dramatically. And some missions, larger missions, are utilizing things like artificial intelligence to get a better handle on their data. Smaller missions can't afford that kind of an approach, or they don't have the skill set to be able to deal with that. So they kind of lose out a little bit. One of the things that we're realizing is that in the rescue mission world, with regard to philanthropy and donor management, you're dealing with other nonprofits in your city, in your locale, that are competing for the same dollars, right? And what do you say, Dennis, that major donors will typically give to 6 or 7 different nonprofits, and you want to try to be one of those recipients. So evolution of data involves architectural changes. You have a small mission that will be managing their data using primarily a product like Excel. Doesn't work as you get into a larger data set and larger mission. Excel is useful for exporting data, importing data, and spitting data out to a report, but it's not a good tool for you to manage the data, maintain the data. And then with evolution, Dennis, you can talk to this on direct mail and how effective that is in bringing data in to your organization. Some of it's clean, some of it's not clean. You have all kinds of hurdles there with regard to the cleanliness of that data. And then scalability. As you start bringing data in from outside your organization through direct mail or other sources, your database is going to grow. So you have to have the ability to handle that capacity as it expands. And then as it expands, you have more complexity with your data because you have it coming from different sources. You have it, some of it is bringing in good information, some of it is duplicate information you already have in your database. You have to sort through that and analyze the data and make sure that if you're going to delete some of that, you're deleting the right data. You're not deleting all of it or the wrong data. And then the item at the bottom, innovation. I mentioned about Excel. I mentioned about artificial intelligence earlier. As the internet becomes more prevalent and more advanced, then your ability to go out and grab data from other sources, whether it's your own point of sale system in your thrift store, or another database external to your organization. You guys have online donors that you get data feeds from. Not the donors, but the what am I trying to say? The vendors. you get those feeds in. You have to process that and make sure that those donors are going to match up with your current database. So you have an ever-expanding database of information and capability. And as I alluded to, the complexities are only going to increase. Big data processing is a term that comes out of corporate America. It typically is something that's used and talked about and manipulated at your mega corporations. An IBM, Citibank, corporations of that size will have entire departments that do nothing but process data in and out of the organization. Data engineering is a big deal. As I mentioned earlier about data integration, there's real-time data processing. You got to make sure that people that are entering data manually into your system are paying attention to what they're entering, and that the accuracy of what they put in matches the data that comes in, and that you have good, clear, accurate information, because on the other end of the spectrum, you've got to spit that information out either for your own internal reporting purposes, or you're sending a letter or information back to the donor. You want to make sure that the information you put on that letter is accurate, right? Problem that we ran into is in one case is we had inaccurate year-to-date information that was being sent out to donors, and we had to back up and correct that and make sure that was accurate across the board. Cloud and hybrid data management. Any comments, questions about that? We're all working in the cloud for all intents and purposes, right? You guys are in the cloud with Virtuous. You're in the cloud with NetSuite, and it's a controlled environment to some extent, but you're still going across the internet. You're still accessing. I like to refer to it as the Ethernet out there. It's everywhere. It's very pervasive, and you have, anytime you go outside of your organization, you have data security, privacy issues that you have to pay attention to. So again, challenges that we have, the 4 V's. Your volume is increasing, the variety of data that you're bringing into the organization is increasing, the velocity is getting faster, and then I keep coming back to this, is the accuracy of the data. You have to have accurate data, otherwise you're going to create problems that now you have to spend time correcting. So, apologize for the cram of data up there. But those 6 boxes refer to scalability, improved decision-making, enhancing your customer experience. On the bottom right, data security and compliance, competitive advantage, and streamlined operations. Those are all aspects of managing your data that you have to stay on top of and pay attention to on a constant basis, on a daily basis. So any questions about any of those categories? Data security, privacy. Having a competitive advantage over other nonprofit organizations in your community that are looking to go after the same donors and the same dollars. Can you read that? That's kind of small. Apologize. Well, you have good eyes, though. So, move that up, or you guys can move up. I don't want to touch the monitor. I could get in trouble for doing that. Oh, thanks, John. So, I'll try not to. So do you, in your own organizations, do you feel like you have cost-effective management of your data that you're running through your CRM or your contact management system? Just a general question. You don't have to reveal anything that you don't want to reveal.